All right, we are back here on the podcast talking movie time here, our summer movie preview, as always, joined by our movie critic here on the podcast, Barstool Sports Jon Stanko. John, welcome back. How are you?
Honest answer is I'm exhausted, Mike, but I'm happy to be here. We're taping this on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon and just got in from doing some yard work for the first time of the year. So still getting used to it, but I'm happy to be here talking movies.
Yeah, talking movies is always fun here, and this is gonna be should be a fun summer movie season.
I would say that this is the first summer season since COVID where there's something to look forward to every month. People are going to be back in the movies at a more consistent basis. So very excited. Lots of potentially lucrative franchises coming back, but we'll see. We'll talk about that.
Absolutely, that's for sure here. And let's get to a couple of things here in the movie world here. The Oscars were about 2 months ago from dated recording here. What's your big takeaway from the Oscars?
I mean, everything, everywhere, all at once swept the party, right? That was the whole entire thing. It was cool how the momentum built throughout the night. And even myself, who's not the biggest fan of the movie, it wasn't my favorite. You can't deny seeing the audience get more and more excited as you kind of knew was culminating with it winning Best Picture. It was cool television, and everyone was happy about it. I think the biggest surprise was Jamie Lee Curtis winning Best Supporting Actress. Once that happened, I was like, all right, it's a shoo-in. Like, just write it down, cast your checks, because it's the way it's going to be. But it was a good show. I think it ran pretty well. Jimmy Kimmel did a good job, and it was a feel-good show. There were really no crazy surprises that people were upset about. And I think that's the first time in a while. So, you know what? Good on the Oscars. It kind of came back and it was a good show. And the audience, I think, also agree. I think ratings are up for it as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. I did like the end of it though when Jimmy Kimmel walks out and they have the sign of like 0 years like with incident. Like that was fun.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he did a good job poking fun at what happened last year, obviously with Chris Rock and Will Smith, and I think they did a good job of blending Jimmy Kimmel making fun of how nobody's watching the Oscars or how it runs too long. They were kind of able to poke fun at themselves more than usual, I think, this year. At least that's the sense I got. So it was a good show. I did okay on my predictions. I think I went 16-7, which isn't great and it isn't terrible, but I won some and I lost some. Did not think Wakanda Forever was winning Best Costume Design. That one was I was way off. But overall, good show. I enjoyed it. I stayed up late to watch it. Watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I did too. I watched the other. I was doing some March Madness work here, and we've had some spring movies come out here. All right, what movies you gone to see so far? How are you feeling about them?
Well, Mike, there's only one movie to talk about here. There's
Yeah,
only one movie to talk about.
yeah,
It's John Wick Chapter 4.
yeah,
We have not talked about John Wick Chapter 4.
yeah.
And I would like to discuss it with you because it is the only movie of the spring that I think is worth multiple deep conversations about.
Yeah, I love this movie. I thought I texted you. I actually managed to get there for you because you had a lot of work things going on. I texted you ahead of time. I said, hey, like this movie is a lot of fun visually. They give you a bunch of different fight styles, great choreography. I think the whole mix was great, and the story was pretty good too.
This movie rocks. I
Yeah,
mean, this movie is perfect. It was Stahelski and Keanu Reeves just saying, we're gonna throw everything at the wall. This is everything I've ever wanted to do. We're gonna give homage to a dozen different movies, and we're gonna make it all work. It's a 3 hour movie that flies by. The visuals are stunning. I cannot say this is the best action franchise in terms of using lighting. The club scenes are ridiculous. Scott Atkins with the just being a fat obese guy kicking ass. You got Lawrence of Arabia. There's the whole entire thing is fantastic, but it's a send off. It's perfect. Visually, it's stunning. This franchise, Mike, went 4 for 4. And you could argue any of the movies are its best. You could argue that. Everyone's going to have their preference. But how rare is it for a franchise to go 4 for 4? Literally every single movie people love. There was not one single letdown.
yeah. It was incredible. I think what was your favorite fight sequence for me? For me, I love the overhead shot where like you're playing the video game and he's going through different rooms in the abandoned hotel and just like fighting people. That was so much fun.
That was visually the most appealing by far. That one took my breath away. He is blowing people up with a fire blasting shotgun. Awesome. Dragon's breath bullets just decimating people. I think the staircase scene at the end, listen, it's awesome from a visual standpoint. It was very, frankly, Abbott and Costello slapstick comedy-esque with the people rolling down the mountain, even Wick having to roll back down the stairs and then climb back up. It was perfect. It's also symbolic for Wick climbing to the top and finally getting to the mountain where he's wanted to be and get his freedom. So it worked on a symbolic, but also just a pure entertainment standpoint. All of it was awesome. My favorite was that drone overhead stuff because you haven't seen that before. It was something that literally had never been put in an action movie like this. It was like ballet. You're watching bloody, violent ballet, and you cannot look away. If you're not a fan of violence, don't watch this movie. But if you are, this is the most beautiful, just pure action violent movie since like The Raid. Watching it, you cannot look away. It's stunning, stunning. So everything about it was awesome. I mean, this movie absolutely rocks. I'm gonna watch all 4 movies probably again this year just to complete it, and it's stunning stuff.
Yeah, I think obviously they ended in a way where this should be the last movie. I know this talks about, bring the franchise back in some way. Whether it's a
We didn't see a body.
we did not see
We
a
did.
body.
We did not. Well, we saw him. We saw him fall down. So
And we saw it.
do you think they should go with 5?
I think they want to because it made a crap ton of money. It was critically received. I think Keanu was down for it if he wants to do it. But like for me, like unless you have a good story, like let the character die. Because you don't want to tarnish what you've done here with like having a subpar story, bringing him back just for sequelitis.
I agree, but hear me out. If they do 5, they don't need to. If Keanu Reeves is almost 60 years old, like he's getting up there. He can't do this forever. If they do a John Wick Chapter 5, have him be the old mentor. Have him go to Russia where he's invisible. No one knows his name, but somebody finds him, and he's the Master Yoda to a new Mr. Wick, if you will. Have that be a transfer because they're expanding this universe. They're having Ballerina come out. They're having the Continental come out on Peacock. Maybe you don't call it John Wick, but maybe you bring the character back as part of a reboot of this franchise, but just bring him back for some more money and get his name in one more movie and have him live in Russia where he's quiet on his own. He has to teach his ways to a newcomer who's asking for his help. Like he goes back to his family in Russia and he's in the snow. Like it all works out. That would be my pitch if they were to bring this character back, but they do not need to.
Yeah, and he has a dog.
That's true. He has a dog. I mean, we didn't see the dog very much in Chapter 4, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end is Lawrence Fishburne's character had the dog at that point, or is he off somewhere else?
Yes, I believe Lawrence Fishburne's character is the last one seeing the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got to talk about Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
this guy, Stahelski didn't want him to play the part of the villain. He wanted to play a different part in the movie, and Skarsgård was like, "I want to play the Marquis." He wanted to play this part because he said it was the most fun part, and he freaking nailed it, man. Everything about it was grandiose. The French royalty, like Marie Antoinette, in giant museums and rooms where paintings are 4 times bigger than they should be. Outstanding stuff, and he nailed this role being the asshole. He was so good at being pompous.
Yeah, he was great. I do think you're right about this franchise having a problem with Keanu getting up there if they want to keep going here because it's sort of like what happened with Rocky, where they did sort of transition to the mentor in the Creed series that worked here. 24 runs into that issue with Kiefer Sutherland, where like he's getting up there and like they can't figure out how to successfully revive the show without him. So like it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. But I mean, listen, who are we to doubt this franchise and this character from bringing awesome content? No one thought they would go 4 for 4. No one thought they'd get crazier, crazier, and crazier, and crazier. Like they have proved everyone wrong at every single level. Like no joke. John Wick Chapter 4 should be nominated for stuff at the Oscars based on the stuff I've seen thus far this year. This movie is visually stunning. It takes chances and it pulls them off. Like absolutely crazy. In the club scene with Scott Adkison with the water falling and the lights going everywhere to make that look crisp and clear with the action and not have the audience confused at all, that takes talent. Like they're getting better at making these movies. Like maybe make more. Like I don't care. I'm gonna watch them all.
They should definitely be in the mix for cinematography this year for sure.
I would love it to be. That's gonna be like my campaign. Will it be? Probably not because it's just an action movie, right? It's not like high art or whatever it is. But like this movie is stunning to look at, let alone just entertaining and mind. You put your mind like on cocaine. You can't stop looking away from it. It just makes you crazy.
To be fair to their chance, though, didn't Top Gun get nominated in this category too?
It did, but Top Gun, I think it wasn't an action movie, if you will. Like I don't consider Top Gun an action movie. Do you?
Well, he's got plenty of action sequences with all the flights and stuff.
I guess so. I don't know. I think there are action sequences, but it's not an action movie. I think there's still some romance and some drama involved in it. And I mean, listen, they both are very profitable movies. Maybe maybe this year's Oscars, this is looking way in the future because God knows it's going to be 8,000 blockbusters this summer. But if they want a movie that everyone loved to be in the awards conversation. Maybe they bring this one in, like Top Gun Maverick brought a lot of people into the Oscar conversation last year.
Yeah, that's true here. I was going to throw a couple out of notes out here for you. Did you see Creed 3 yet?
I have not seen Creed 3 yet. No, I'm waiting for it to come out and I need to see it. I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, I'm excited to get your take on that movie because I thought I enjoyed it a lot. Jonathan Majors, for I know, put the off camera stuff aside right now. He delivered a great performance in the movie, which is good because like they left the movie where a place where like he does not have to come back in the future, which is good. But like he delivers a great performance in the movie, and I think you will have some fun with some of the choices Michael B. Jordan made as the director.
What I've heard about Creed 3 and Jonathan Majors is that it makes Quantum Mania, right, where he was the villain in that movie, it makes that movie even worse when you see how good Majors was in Creed 3. Like it makes it makes that movie and his villain completely abysmal to what Majors was in the Creed franchise.
Yeah, Major's still the best part of Quantum Mania by far, but like he's much better in Creed 3 than he is there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm gonna watch it eventually. I haven't gotten to it. March Madness and kicking my butt, but we're good.
Are you going to see Mario?
I'm going to see Mario once it comes out on streaming. Yes. I was not going to go see this in theaters when it was coming out, but I knew it was going to make a crap ton of money, and boy, oh boy, did it. But I think this is going to be it's going to be like a Sonic the Hedgehog for me. Like I'm going to enjoy it. I don't think it's going to blow my socks off and like I'm going to want to like discuss it a lot, but I think I'll be entertained while watching it for all the little nuggets and such. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I have not seen it yet. I'm planning on seeing it soon, either like in a theater, like on a matinee showing, or like on streaming. But like from what I've heard, like it's not like the best movie, but it is a lot of fun.
Right. That's exactly what I think it is. It's built for its audience and it's going to make a crap ton of money and they're going to make a sequel. So, but again, everyone who's watched it says they have enjoyed it. Like no one's like walked out of the theater and talked about it being like that was bad, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did get to Guardians Volume 3 last weekend, so
People love that.
that movie was great. They're like I guess you feel much better about the future of DC with James Gunn running it than I do about Marvel, because I don't think Marvel takes the right lessons away here. It's a very character-centric movie where we focus more on these characters opposed to connecting everything, which makes it great. Rocket's the heart of the movie, and there are scenes in that movie that, like, if I told you them out of context and said these will make you cry, you would think I'm nuts. But like that's what James Gunn does.
James Gunn is good at what he does. Again, I think Guardians 3, just from talking with people at work and listening and reading things, it's the first great Marvel movie in years. It's the first one where it's like they're back. Like this is like the quality and content people expected, which is maybe too high of a bar, but people seem to really dig it.
Yeah, I would say as a note to Marvel here, like, please take your notes here and what people are saying about this movie and apply it to your other movies. Because I said this last week in the podcast. I'm like, a couple weeks ago on the podcast, I said, like, we don't care about like what connects first. Like, make us care about this movie first, make it good, and then later on, let's earn the connection. We haven't earned it yet with a lot of these characters that are coming in.
No, but again, that means you need origin stories of these to build relationships with these characters, right? You can't just throw them in. So, and that's tough to do now. I think it's tough to get people to buy into origin stories now without making it a more overarching, like big picture type thing. Like, am I wrong in saying that? I think it's hard to pull off something like an Iron Man now, which is self-contained but introduced you to a character. I think audience now is craving more.
I think like there's a lot of times like, oh, like you need to know these 55 things and watch these 55 things to understand what's going on in this movie. I think like some audience are saying, oh, like it's too much. Like, give something I could just like watch in 2 hours, a 2:15, and like feel like I learned like connect to this character having to do all my homework and watch like 7 Marvel shows and 3 other movies.
Well, that's why I'm out on Marvel because it got to be homework. So if this movie it dismisses with the homework and just says go have fun at recess, then count me in because if I don't need to study up, then I'll ace the test.
Yeah, Guardians is very much like that. You do not need a homework.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right, so that's what's going on right now. It's the first summer movie here. And it's also very weird. It's the only true Marvel over here. I mean, we have Marvel adjacent coming up with
Yeah.
Spider-Man, but like the MCU sitting out the summer after Guardians.
Well, I think Guardians kind of started off the summer, right? And the summer schedule seems to keep on creeping forward every year. And it started it off on a high note, made a lot of money and a lot of high praise.
Yeah, so let's look at some of these movies here that are coming up here. Obviously, the big one just came out last weekend here. Fast 10 here. Like, what do you expect here?
What do I expect from Fast 10? I have a complicated relationship with this franchise, Mike, because I love dumb action movies. Love them. I will gobble them up, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Fast 9 was atrocious. It was by far the low point of the franchise, by far. With that being said, I am excited to finally watch Fast X because I think I love Jason Momoa as the bad guy. The trailers for this movie made Jason Momoa seem like an attractive Joker, just embracing chaos and destroying everything that Toretto loves. And I think that's great because I think Dominic Toretto is the worst character in the franchise. So I think I'm going to enjoy seeing Toretto demolished. I would love for him to actually, have some consequences like that will actually matter. So I think this movie is going to make a lot of money. It's going to do what it does. I hope it kind of strips down a little bit in terms of the craziness because Fast 9 did too much in like a 2.5 hour window, and that whole space sequence was terrible. So I think this movie is going to be pretty good. I think it's going to make some money, not as much money as people expect, but still going to cross over the 500 million threshold and be very profitable. They're still making 2 more after this. It's now a 3-part finale. This is the first of a 3-part finale. I don't know how you can extend this out anymore, but I color me excited. I don't know if I'm going to watch it in theaters this summer when I'm quieter down, but I definitely going to tune into this when it comes to streaming because I like having my brain turned off for a couple hours. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll say in terms of that movie though, this feels like the franchise sort of like taking the Walking Dead where approach was like, oh, like it's the final season. No wait, it's part one of the final season. No wait, there's 3 parts of the final season. No wait, there's 3 more spin-offs coming. Like they'll never really gone this franchise.
I think this franchise is going once it ends finally. It's going to be like in 2026 when Part 12 comes out and Toretto rides off into the sunset. How shocking would it be if they killed Toretto? That would be incredible for me. Maybe not for the franchise, but for me. But when he rides off into the sunset, I think you give it 5 years after that, and they're going to reboot it somehow, some way to just bring it back. But
Yeah,
this is the most profitable, one of, if not the most profitable franchises of all time. It might be the most profitable movie franchise of all time. So crazy that this can happen in terms of just 9 movies and now 10 coming out. People are still excited.
yeah, there's gonna be some minor character in the 12th movie. They're like 5 years. Oh wait, it's his story now. That's
Right. Well, doesn't he have a son, or doesn't Paul Walker have a son? Right. Paul
yeah,
Walker's character has a son, and he's in danger in this movie, and he's
yeah,
going to build a fatherly relationship with the Torettos, both Vin Diesel's character and John Cena's character, because they're brothers, and that somehow happened. So maybe the reboot of this franchise is Paul Walker's son in the movie universe, growing up to become his own Fast and Furious hero.
yeah. That's for sure. Go to the Disney live action. Well, here the live action Little Mermaid. Here, are you interested in this at all?
No, honest answer. Do Do you think this looks good?
I can't tell.
I don't think it looks like visually. I don't think it looks good. Like the trailer, I was not impressed with the visuals at all. And they don't have a great track record with these live action stuff. And they're like, it just doesn't look good. Who is this appealing to? Like the younger audience, are they going to want to go see this, or is this going to be an older audience bringing their younger kids to see it? But the older audience has been burned by not so great live action movies recently, so they might not be excited. I am very skeptical of the Little Mermaid and how successful it's going to be.
Plus, you know how like this like audience is now in terms of things. You know, there's a whole portion of it, like you changed my movie. I'm not gonna watch it because you changed like the races of characters. You know that's gonna run into that issue too.
Well, they also changed the lyrics to the song. Have you heard about this?
I've not
The
heard about this.
the "You Kissed a Girl" song, right? The climactic when they're rowing in the boat and they're singing the "Kiss the Girl." They
Yeah.
changed the lyrics to the song to be more society appropriate, if you will. So it's not like pressure or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I am upset about it because that's the whole premise of the movie is like she needs to be kissed. She wants to be kissed and he's not doing it. And it's just one of those things where it's like you're changing the words to the most famous song in the movie already. You're already driving into the danger zone by remaking it. And then you're changing the most iconic part and basically the whole premise of the movie because you're saying she doesn't want to be kissed when she needs to be kissed to have her voice and have her love and whatever. Like, very confused about what that's going to be. They're defending it, whatever. I'm sure it's still going to make a decent amount of money, but in terms of reviews and stuff like that, I'm not expecting it to be that positive. I'm not expecting it to do well in theaters. I think it'll do well in streaming once it comes out on Disney Plus. But in terms of the in theater experience, I don't think this is going to be that popular.
All right, so let's go to one. I feel like this is probably the next one on my list to go see in a theater here. I don't know if you're going to get to it until it's streaming, but the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part One. So, like, are you pumped for this one?
Yes, I am excited. I love the first one. It blew my mind out of the water. The animation style is nuts. And the last thing I read about it is they're still working on this movie now, even though it's coming out soon. Like they're still tinkering with it and stuff. Part of me wants to go see this in theaters and bring my fiance's little brother Max. He's 8 years old, 9 years old. Bring him to go see this because he would be enthralled by this. This is just going to be 2 hours of crazy action and cool looking animation, right? So it's one of those things where I'm nervous that they're combining so many things into a 2 hour production. I don't love that, but there's no you after the success of the first one, it coming out of nowhere. This one's going to be a front runner for awards and for money and for critics and everything. So I might have to hop in line because when something takes me by surprise, I tend to enjoy it going forward. So maybe I'd take a Max to the movie theater and enjoy this one.
Yeah, I could definitely see this being in the mix next year for those animated feature Oscars, especially if it is like if they make it as successful as the first one was, or like in terms of like audience reception.
I think audience reception to this is going to be unanimous praise. I think there's no denial. People have been waiting for this for a long time. Since the first one came out, they wanted more, and they're finally getting it. So, and this is like you said, this is the MCU adjacent movie. This is the only MCU character that's coming to life this summer. So people are going to be craving for that comic book experience, and Spider Verse is going to deliver.
Yep, we'll go next here. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. This franchise still exists.
This franchise still does exist. Yes. I, I I've seen all the Transformers movies. I don't enjoy the Transformers movies. Again, it's like the dumb action where you turn your brain off and you think it's okay. I don't know how this one's gonna be because I mean Bumblebee was great, but isn't this like a prequel to like when Optimus Prime happened? Isn't it like an in between sort of thing?
I have no idea what the Transformers timeline ever. They've changed it like 5 times.
So, according to IMDb, the plot is unknown and it's reportedly based off the Transformers spin-off Beast Wars. That's the only thing it says on IMDb. Um, Now there are a crap ton of people in this movie. Like you got Pete Davidson, Michelle Yeoh, Peter Dinklage, Ron Perlman. You got Anthony Ramos being the main character. Like you got a lot of things happening in this movie that may make people interested, but you're gonna have to prove to me that a CGI fight fest is gonna pull me into the movie theater rather than just watching it at home. Even though this is probably something you should see on the big screen to see all the little intricacies of the special and visual effects, but I am curious to see how this movie will do because it's been a long time since we had a great theater Transformers movie. Like Bumblebee, right? That was the last one that kind of got people by surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer for this at Guardians 3 and it did not grab me. So, like, that's not a great sign in my book.
No, but the trailer doesn't. Is that the one that has Anthony Ramos coming out of the car looking like a badass with a bag? And
Yeah.
it's just like looks ridiculous. My fiance watched that. We were watching a basketball game. That trailer happened, and she's like, "That's the cheesiest looking thing of all time." And that was her. That was the only thing she said. That was the only first time she ever saw it. She's like, "That's cheesy as hell." So I don't know.
All right, let's go on here to DC Part One. The Flash is coming out in June here, and it's gonna be. This looks like it could be very, very wild.
I don't know what to make of this because people around the movie freaking love it, right? The DC people are like saying that this is going to reset the whole entire thing. It's going to be a massive success. I think the Ezra Miller controversy has now gone by the wayside and it's been replaced by Michael Keaton. What's he doing in this movie controversy? Saying weird lines. Like, I don't know what this movie is going to be, but I think it's going to be incredibly important for what DC does going forward. So, as crazy as this sounds, I'm going to watch this movie, but I am more excited for what happens after the fact and the threads that start dripping out of the success or failure of this movie rather than the movie itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense here because you're already seeing like the impact it has. Because obviously, if this thing makes $1 bazillion, they're gonna bring Ezra Miller back and do another
Right.
Flash movie in the new universe. And whereas if this one doesn't, they say, okay, well, he reset. Now it could be somebody else, and we move on.
Right, exactly. So I'm very curious what's going to happen with that because this is going to have lasting effects. And the day of recording today, there was news about who James Gunn is casting in his new Superman movie. So they're going after big stars in these big movies when he's going to have this envisioning for what this new DC movie universe is going to look like. So this is kind of the last ball to drop in terms of the way Gunn is going to reshape everything in the years going forward. And it's either going to be he's going to be a big hit or a big bomb. And I don't know what to expect in terms of box office on this. Like, I don't think it's going to do Guardians 3 numbers, but I think it's going to do better than Quantumania numbers. Like, I think it's going to be somewhere on the in between. I
Yeah.
don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I feel like if it has the Creed 3 track in terms of box, I think it's successful for them, considering the amount of controversy the movie's had.
Yeah, I guess so. I would agree that would be a success in terms of the controversy, but is it a success in terms of investments and the drama behind the scenes of it? I don't know. It's an interesting debate, which is why I'm excited for the threads that are going to happen after the fact.
Yeah, I think word of mouth is big for this movie. I think if people love it, it's going to do huge. But if people come out of that movie saying this was not good, like Quantum Mania, had a huge first weekend and it sank like a stone.
Right. That's a great point. That's a great point.
All right, let's go on here to Pixar in the game here. Elemental. Is it you see anything about this?
I know it exists. That's pretty much all I know. This one has not been on my radar, so tell me about it.
I was curious if you had anything on because like this feels like a mysterious movie. I haven't really seen many trailers for it, but it is Pixar and they usually are a hit machine. So like this one I have my eye on in terms of like definitely might be a streaming option when it comes to Disney Plus, but like I'll keep an eye to see like if this becomes like an Inside Out. Everybody's talking all about it. Say, oh, this is amazing.
I mean, I do love Inside Out. You know what catches me in terms of the IMDb of Elemental? It's 93 minutes. This is going to be in, out, bing, bang, boom. Makes me more excited to watch it.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting here. Let's go now to like another franchise is coming to an end here, supposedly. Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny here with some de-aging of Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on this, Mike. Gonna be honest with you. I I'm excited for this movie. I love James Mangold as a director. I love the character of Indiana Jones. Um, I I like the new additions to this movie. They're bringing back a lot of the old, as long as bringing in some new. I like Mads Mikkelsen. Love him. Great bad guy and everything he does. We got Boyd Holbrook coming into the fray. I'm excited to see Indiana Jones defeat Nazis. Always exciting. The trailer, it seems ridiculous.
Oh,
You have 8,000-year-old Harrison Ford jumping out of a plane with a parachute. And I wish I could believe it, but I just can't.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be really hard for James Mangold. And I think he could pull it off, but it's a tall task to have the audience buy into a senior citizen kicking ass on a treasure hunt.
To be fair, I am really curious how Mangold does it, considering James Mangold's coming to the Star Wars universe in a few years, considering he got tapped to do a movie about the origin of the Jedi. That's coming soon as well.
James Mangold makes good movies. He just knows how to make good movies. And I think it is huge that like Steven Spielberg saw this movie. And I think he said, I'm paraphrasing or quoting, he says, I thought only I could make movies like this. And like he loved it. So that makes me more excited about it. But I wish the trailers got me more amped. Like the music is great, the nostalgia's there. I just wish that the visual of Indiana Jones riding on a horse, dodging bullets, jumping out of like airplanes, and saving damsel in distress, Helena Shaw, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridges, who I guess is his goddaughter. Like I wish I could see him being the hero as plausible, but I'm struggling with it right now in my brain.
Yeah, that makes some sense here. So in terms of the next big movie here, we go Tom Cruise here, Mission Impossible. What's the Dead Reckoning Part 1 here? We thought Tom Cruise dominated last year with Top Gun Maverick. Is he going to do it again with this movie, in your opinion?
I think this movie is going to make a crap ton of money because people are going to see Tom Cruise. He was in Top Gun Maverick. Oh my God. And this is the 7th entry in the Mission Impossible franchise. And this franchise was thought left for dead after Mission Impossible 2, but Tom Cruise has brought it back and it's gotten better and better and better and better. Fallout was great, outstanding. This movie has gotten so much press for its behind the scenes stuff in terms of like they're putting out 10-minute like mini documentaries about the stunts that he's doing, which is crazy. Like he's on airplanes like promoting stuff. He's jumping off of like mountain, like he's doing crazy stuff. Very interested to see. I want to see a new trailer. We haven't gotten a new trailer in a very long time. So I'm excited for what this franchise is going to become. It's part 1 of 2. I hope that they can end it well and get people excited for part 2 because I'm a little bit worried about the 2-part finale thing. I don't like the 3-part Fast and Furious ending. I don't like the 2-part ending here. So I hope that they can though have a satisfying ending while leading into the next one.
Yeah, that's for sure. Then we keep an eye on that here. Then we have the big Civil War movies on July 21st. Oppenheimer versus Barbie. That's going to be wild.
Are you Oppenheimer or Barbie Hive? Which one are you?
You know, I am a Nolan guy. I have to be on Team Oppenheimer.
I am Team Oppenheimer as well. I'm more excited for Oppenheimer.
Let's start there then. Oppenheimer. How you feel about this one? Because like I watched this trailer again recently and before Guardians 3, and like it looks incredible. And we know Nolan can deliver great movies. So I'm very excited for this.
The new trailer got me very excited. This seems very much more of a character based movie more than a theory slash spectacle based, if that makes sense. Like this movie is going to follow Cillian Murphy portraying Oppenheimer and gonna kind of tell his story. The way I see it, he sees himself as a god at the start of this. He's rallying troops. He's gathering a team. We need to beat the timeline of the Nazis creating the atomic bomb, and we're behind. So here's a race. We're racing the Nazis. I am a genius. I'm assembling other geniuses, and we're going to create this device. He's like God. He's so smart. And then when he creates it, you're going to see him crumble. You're going to see the God realize he flew too close to the sun, and you're going to see that pressure, and he's going to collapse. And I'm very curious to see if that's a story that Nolan tells, because I would like to see a character portrayal like this and have Murphy a chance to really act it, like to be seen as an actor, not just as the character from Peaky Blinders or something like that. Because I think he's really talented. So very excited for Nolan to create a character-based movie that's going to have all the science and special effects and all that stuff. But it's fascinating to me that this is the way the story is going, and I'm very, very excited for it.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of like the Nolan, there's always some sort of like Nolan like misdirection of some kind. I feel like it's much more in line of like Dunkirk, where like the timeline is
Yes.
sort of the issue as opposed to like Interstellar or some of these other ones where it's we're going to do like time travel shenanigans to sort of like figure it out. I think this is going to be much
Right.
more like a traditional storytelling mechanic, but he's verts in his own way.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's got classic storytale components, right? It has a hero. He needs to assemble a team. He needs to assemble a team to defeat evil people. These evil people are the Nazis. The Nazis are ahead in the race, and the Americans, America, needs to take down the Nazis, win the race, and destroy evil. If you think about it in very rudimentary puzzle pieces, it's perfect. It fits together nicely, but no one is going to be there to make it, instead of like a 5-piece puzzle that's easy to understand, he's going to make it a 2,000-piece puzzle that's going to have the same picture at the end, but so many different intricacies plugging in. That's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, excited about that one too. And the Barbie movie, I will say, the amount of hype this thing has gotten in terms of like how mysterious they're being about it, the people that are in this thing, as a lot of people saying like, oh, like I can't tell you what I did. Like this to me, either is going to be like one of the biggest hits of all time, one of the biggest flops of all time.
I uh I didn't love the newest trailer that came out. People were like, "Oh, Barbie Land, whatever. Like this is cool. You have all the different Kens. You're gonna have a dance party, a dance off. You got all the different Barbies." The only thing we saw in the last trailer was in Barbie Land. This is gonna be like an allegory of the cave story. She's gonna leave Barbie Land and go to the real world, right? That's what I want to see. Everything that's been leading up to this movie has been the pretty, like the pink, the abs, and all that stuff. I want to see the grimy. Like I want to see what happens when it gets brought into the real world. But we haven't seen any of that yet, so it's tough for me to get excited about it because they're withholding it, which is good because it makes me interested, but also bad because I want to be amped up to see it to know I'm getting what I want. So that's kind of where I'm at with this Barbie movie.
Yeah, that's sense. That's one I'm going to sort of hear what happened to that one. I'm not going to see it here, but rapid fire on the August stuff because that's usually the sort of like the dumping ground for what's left over the summer here. Did you know they're making a movie about the Haunted Mansion ride?
I knew there's a movie coming out. I know the cast is ridiculous. Like there are so many people in this movie. Like Jared Leto, Rosario Dawson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Winona Ryder, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Dan Levy, Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish. So many people in this movie. What's it about? Like, is it about a ride? Like, I'm kind of confused. Like, I'm not super excited about it, but there's a crap ton of people in it. And the last Haunted Mansion we had was the Eddie Murphy movie, right? From back when we were kids,
Yep.
like long, long time ago. So I don't exactly know why this is being made, but I am shocked at the amount of people involved in it.
Yeah, me too. That's a wild one here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are back again here for Mutant Mayhem. I forgot this franchise is still alive also.
Cowabunga! Mike, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know this movie was coming out. I saw your rundown. I watched the trailer. I'm stoked. I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles growing up. Like I love it. I'm a Leonardo guy. That's my guy. I'm gonna watch this movie. I watched the newest ones, the couple that Michael Bay made with Megan Fox in it, I think is April. Like I'm all about this. I want to see a crazy shredder. Like yes, let me eat some pizza with Michelangelo. I'm all for it.
All right, so Stanko's in on that one. That's his like end of the summer movie here.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Did you know they're making Gran Turismo, the video game, into a movie?
Yeah, the trailer came out like last week. The video game, you're gonna get a tryout, and then gonna get to be an F1 racer because video games are just like real life. And it this movie is the most 2023 movie of all time. Like, if you just took culture now and just put it into a movie, it's like Gran Turismo. Like, I play this in a video game. I could do this in real life. Like, you're taking that movie and making it literal. So it's just very interesting. I'm not entirely sure what to expect from it, but I'm gonna watch it on streaming because I like racing movies, and sure. But man, oh man, this movie is so 2023.
Yeah, imagine this is almost like imagine like somebody's like, oh, like I played The Last of Us. Like they pluck you in the movie. Like, oh, you're gonna survive the zombie apocalypse with us.
Right, exactly. Sure. It's like, oh, I fired a gun, in a video game. I can handle the kickback of a shotgun. Like, sure.
Yeah, yeah. I can get myself. I can survive fungus spores.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Just don't breathe. Yeah, fine.
Yeah. The last one I have on the list here is another DC movie in August here, Blue Beetle. I have no clue what this is about either.
I think this movie looks like crap. Straight up. I'm sorry. Like, I watched the trailer, not interested at all. Just no interest whatsoever. Sorry. The Blue Beetle character, I don't know a lot about it in terms of the lore either. I think I only played it in terms of like the Injustice video games a bit, like the fighting kind of Mortal Kombat style games. I think I played as that character a bit, but man, oh man, I'm not interested in this movie.
Although I will note here, James Gunn apparently has said that this character is going to be brought into the DCU that he's working on here. So it's interesting to see here. He did see enough he liked. He's going to keep this character involved going forward.
All right, well I didn't know that. I guess that's a vote of confidence from somebody who knows the comic book universe. So interested, but tell you what, making no effort to see this in an expedient fashion once it comes out in August.
Oh, me either.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing here. Obviously, you have your own picks, I'm sure, for summer that like you have that we have not covered here. Anything else that you're looking for in sort of the Stanko category?
I'm gonna tell you one movie, Mike. There's one movie.
Yeah.
One movie I'm really excited about. You touched on most of them, and there are a lot of other movies too, but there's one movie I want to talk about. And there's no way you're gonna guess it. There's no way. I'll give you one guess.
I have to look back at the movie calendar. I couldn't even tell you what else coming out besides what I looked at.
All right, you want me to tell you?
Sure.
The Meg 2, The Trench.
I did not peg you as like I'm in seconds, Meg.
I am so excited for this movie. I really, really like the first one. Like, I watched it and I was like, this movie is absurd, and I love every single bit about it. Like, it embraced what it was. It was bonkers. This past summer, not this summer, crazy. Earlier this year, Emma and I took a vacation to Florida, and as part of this vacation with our friends, we did monster movies throughout the week. And we watched a bunch of monster movies, and this was the first one we watched. And Emma and I watched it together, and her friends hadn't seen it either, so I got to introduce them to it. And they were like, "What is this? This is absolutely insane." Emma's yelling about the science of dinosaurs and sharks, and I'm just like, "You just got to enjoy it." So we're going to go see The Meg 2, The Trench, in theaters when it comes out on August 4th. And we're going to laugh our asses off because this movie is ridiculous. It's got Jason Statham flying through the air on a jet ski with a spear, like freaking like gladiator charging. If you think about it, there's a scene. The poster is literally Jason Statham with his foot on the Megalodon's nose, pushing off of it because Jason Statham's thighs are stronger than a Megalodon. I am all about this movie, Mike. It's perfect. It's my version of Sharknado. I'm so excited.
You could do a double feature and go see TMNT right afterwards.
I could. Hell yeah. Let me embrace my inner child of non-logical action nonsense. I'm very excited for this movie. I want to see sharks attack humans, rip them in half, and then a big battle at the end at the sea that makes no sense in terms of physics, and I won't care at all.
Yeah, I had my inner child moment, I think, like last month because like I was a kid, I grew up on the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger era, and Netflix did that reunion thing. Then
yeah,
that was fun. Like the CGI in the Megazord was crap, but like it was fun.
Listen, if it reminds you of something that you love and it's just something stupid and you can shut your brain off and enjoy it, embrace it. That's going to be me with the Meg 2. I know it's not going to be critically good, but guess what? It's going to make a lot of money in the US and in China because it has China's biggest action star in it. So it's going to make a ton of money overseas, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. So let me have it.
Yeah, I'll let you have it, John. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate you. People want to follow you on social and keep up with some of your musings on the movies. Not going to do that.
You can follow me on Twitter and social media at jstanko99, or you could read my stuff at stankosstance.com.
Awesome, John. Thanks a lot of time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Enjoy the movies.